Hey folks, I figured I'd talk today about online games. I'm going to see about doing a little short series on it. I've worked on online games, strategy stuff since 2007. So I was thinking maybe I'd share a lot of stuff that goes on for behind the scenes, what really goes on, how the games are kind of operated, the fallacies that players have for their rights, and basically what staff should and shouldn't do for a lot of the online sites. Now, bear in mind, a lot of the sites are different. They're run differently. Not everyone's going to be run exactly the same. These are just kind of generic overviews from what I've seen. I've worked on a myriad of different games. I don't think I'll say any here because they might not like it so much for some of the things I have to say. But I've worked on wrestling games. I've worked on boxing, soccer, tennis. That was not fun, that one. A lot of these were text-based, graphic-based, 3D scrolling. I've worked on ancient battles, kind of like Civilization, but not that one. Then there's kind of a SimCity kind of games that I've worked on. And a lot of them are, like I said, are based generally around the same principle for how the staff is operated and interaction with players and stuff like that. You have your development team, which is your product managers, your coders, marketing, that kind of stuff. Then you have your administration for the game itself, and you usually have the administration for the company, developers, the administration for that specific game series, so it's translated into different languages, and then you have different supervisors in the administration that are usually run by one person who's then responsible to the development team. Then you have your in-game moderators, your forum moderators. Sometimes they're the same. A lot of the times you got two different groups. If there's a chat system, they'll usually have their own mods, or it could be a conglomeration of the in-game mods and forum mods helping out with the chat. I generally stay away from the chat type things because they can get a little too childish really fast on both sides, mods and players. The communication between the mods and administration is generally pretty good. The administration, if they're doing their job, should know everything that's going on. Every day when I log in, I go through the forums and I just do a cursory glance. I got a screen that gives me an abbreviation, one or two lines from every post that's been made since I last logged in. So I can go through that. I can go through the mod actions to see if any bans are made. Then I can look in there, why was the person banned, just to ensure that people aren't having ego boosts and trying to ban people just because they don't like them or don't like how they're saying stuff. The in-game mods, they don't usually talk with the players too much. When the players put problems forth, if it's bugs, the in-game mods will pass it on to the administration team. The administration team will amalgamate like a lot of the different bugs into very similar ones, and then they'll push it on to the development team to fix. And there's not really much communication. This is broken, fix it. And it gives the details where the quest lines are, what exactly is not working. But when it comes to new releases, there's not much communication going down the chain of command. The mods are they're notified the day before or 3 days before the release of whatever's coming out, just so that the public doesn't get a big heads up on it beforehand and go, oh, well, I know exactly what's coming out. They usually want to be a surprise. Oh, wow, there's new stuff, which can sometimes get the players mad because they'll take a little bit of a break from the game. They'll come back and find they're way behind because new stuff was added. Then they get kind of insulted. Well, you added it the day after I left. There's not much the mods can do about that. They do, a lot of times, try their best. The moderators are mostly volunteers. They're players themselves. They help out with the game, either because they're bored or they want to actually help players, which is a rare thing amongst moderators. And then you got the ones though that are just ego tripping. I like to call those the security guards of the video games. They're got the jobs basically, and their attitudes come by either one of two things. They're either people that were hired by the administration because they're buddies with them, or highly recommended by other mods because they're buddies with them. And those guys are usually one of the worst ones to hire on. They'll come in, they'll power trip. I'm not allowing you to say this. Bam, you're done. It's a bad way to handle players. Or you'll get they'll either, like I said, they're either buddies, or they'll go on to be old staff, people that have been around for a while. I worked on one site where 3 years I was there, and we've had a lot of the same staff. And a lot of them started getting attitudes. They started bossing around people that were on an even setting with them on the mod stuff. Like, they'll be senior staff, and then they'll try to boss around other senior staff because they've been around longer, so they figure they have more seniority. And generally those ones are the ones that really don't like the players too much anymore. They've been whined at a lot, and 99% of what the players say to mods, it's all been said before. It doesn't matter if they're trying to be smart-mouthed or whatever. So generally, the mods at that point, they'll get sick and tired of it. There's no respect a lot of the times, and they'll snap back or just have an I don't care attitude. I don't like those around when the sites that I work on. I generally try to cut them loose when it comes like that, or just tell them to take some time off. You know, go away, go play another game for a while. If you want to come back later on, do so. With those ones there, the best thing you can do is just try and talk to their supervisor. Ask who their supervisor is. They'll give you a call sign of whoever in the forums or in-game or whatever, and you can talk to that person. If you're not satisfied with that person's answer, or if it's their buddy and they blow you off, you can request that person's supervisor. And when you're complaining, it usually goes up the chain of command. You can ask for supervisor, 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 until the point where you hit the peak. Now, for the jobs that I do, I'm generally second from the top in the administration side of the game. I don't like being the top bunny because there's way more work and not as much pay for the amount of work you do. So when the complaints come to me and they don't like the answer that I give, I'll pass it along if they request so to the boss of the administration. Now, if the answer isn't great for that one, that person will generally tell the person, write an email into the company. And they can provide the email address. Generally, it's on the login page to the game itself as well, near the bottom. If they sit there and say, I'm the top of the command and there's no further than me, you don't really want to deal with those people. There's always somebody higher until you get to an owner or president of the organization. Generally, a lot of times when you write an email in, that's as far as it'll go. If they get a reply back and they're saying, no, complaints denied, then that's it. Like, you can't go up in the company itself in the development team and work your way up. But if, like I said, if a moderator or administration sits and says, I'm the top of the line, there is no higher than me, you're going to have to live with the decision that you get. Email yourself. Like I said, there's email contacts generally on the login pages of the games. A lot of the players seem to think that when they're in the forums or in game, there's a chat feature, that they have freedom of speech. I love that argument. There really is no freedom of speech on these sites. They're governed by the sites. A lot of people call them dictatorship or becoming the Gestapo, going all Nazi on people's arses. I look at it as each site is, they have to follow the laws for wherever the servers are located. I'm in Canada. I usually work on games that are in Germany or in Italy, and that's my experience. And it's like their own little territory. I've had people complain that they should be allowed to swear insult other players. Why? Like, that's just trolling. It's no good for nothing. Nobody's happy with it except for the person who's trolling themselves. And that's just the mark of poor sociological upbringing. The players that usually come up with these complaints, they're generally kids or people from the States. No offense to people from the States. But, you know, I have rights. You can't do this to me. Which is a lot of why a lot of the world doesn't get along with certain people. The only rights that you have is to pay taxes and die. That's, you know, an old saying, but it's true to today. People will want to complain for the stupidest things, but with this freedom of speech, like in Canada, yeah, we even have freedom of speech, but the freedom of speech is capped where I can say what I want, when I want, how I want, so long as it doesn't interfere with somebody else's freedoms. The freedom of discrimination, their own safety. So discrimination is like, you know, sexual, racial, whatever. If I were to walk up to somebody on the streets and start calling them racial epithets, I could be arrested for a hate crime. In Canada, they're pretty stringent on that. You know, and in the States they might be a little more lax on it, but you know, if you're going to be rude to somebody or step on them, there's no point even open up your gob. So really, there's no freedom of speech on these sites. That's laughable. Whenever people do that, the staff generally get a chuckle out of it and say, yeah, okay, well, that's the end of your speaking then. I think that's about all I'm going to be talking about right now. It takes me a bit to upload these, so I'll try and add a few more things on the next one. And hopefully, if you guys want to know anything about the ins and outs or how the mods are supposed to generally do things, or how things work, feel free to tell me, and I'll see if I can add it on the next video. Right? Thanks.